In this video, I will share with you my experience with loss and grief, and I will also share with you 5 ways that helped me cope with it, heal, and get through the most difficult times in my life. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and if you're new to my channel, my name is Veronika. I'm a co-founder of a modest activewear brand, Fifth Generation Apparel, a content creator and photographer. I document and share my business journey with real life sprinkled in between, with its ups and downs, valuable lessons and practical advice to inspire women like me to pursue their passion, take action, and craft the life that they deserve. It's not a very easy video for me to film. It's definitely out of my usual sort of content, but I think it's very important to talk about. I've been asking on Instagram if people had any suggestions about what I should talk about, and this came up. So I thought I'd just be an open book and share what I went through, what helped me heal, and move on through from the most difficult time in my life. Of course, in hopes that it will help someone out there who is going through a tough time right now, dealing with loss and grief in their life. So my first experience with loss happened when I was 14 years old. I lost my grandmother. I was very close to her. So there was definitely a life before and a life after that loss. It really affected me deeply. It took away my naivety in a way, because when my grandma was battling cancer, it was a 2-year battle, and it was an uphill battle, honestly. Towards the end of her life, she was very frail, and she was just exhausted by this entire experience and her fighting for her life. And of course, me being quite naive and, very innocent, I kept hoping for a miracle. Even when she got her terminal diagnosis, I was still hoping and praying for a miracle. And I thought, like, my grandma can't just die. I really was just in that mind frame. And when it happened, of course, it completely shattered my world. So that was very hard for me, being a very young teenager, going through that, trying to make sense of it. Of course, my parents really supported me during that hard time. It was my mom's mom who passed away, and it was really hard on my mom. And, having my mom and us kind of sharing that experience really helped us get through it. But yeah, I remember I was completely heartbroken and shattered. It was a very, very difficult time for me, being 14 years old and going through a loss like that. So yes, then when I turned 15, I actually moved to New Zealand. I moved on my own. So I had to, after that experience, I had to grow up very, very quickly. And I share my story in this video. So if you want to learn more about how I moved to New Zealand at the age of 15 on my own and the entire story behind that, make sure you check out this video. But so that was already quite eventful for me. Yeah, and then the next time I experienced loss, I was 18 years old. The year was 2013. And in a span of 3 months, I lost 3 people in my life. I lost my granddad, I lost my high school friend, and I lost my dad. So 2013 was a year of very high highs in my life and very low lows. So when I was either super happy or super sad in 2013, and there was no middle ground. Example of those highs, I embraced Islam. I got Islamically married in 2013. And, I lost my dad and my friend and my granddad. Those were the lowest of lows. So that year was literally a roller coaster of emotions for me. And even looking back at it, I honestly don't know how I made it this far. The passing of all those people in my life in 2013 was very unexpected. It wasn't like with my grandma where she was battling cancer for 2 years. I saw her decline gradually over time. In this instance, they were just plucked away from my life just like that. I didn't see it coming. No one saw it coming. It just happened very unexpectedly. And of course, that was a shock to me. And when I look back, it was just a blur. How I was dealing with it, how I was, working through it. It's a blur. That entire first 6 months of 2013 are a blur. I remember people telling me that I was coping really well, and I thought I was too, but deep inside I was just consumed by sadness. I was really, really sad. And even though I kept up my appearances and I was very busy and I was doing a lot of things in my life, I was very, very sad for a long time when it all happened, of course. My body broke out in hives. I was under so much stress. My body was just couldn't take it. So it was very, very hard and stressful. So when I look back, during that time, I did really well at uni. I actually came top of the class, and I did really well just because I dove into my studies. I did everything I could to get distracted, to do something else rather than just being consumed by my sadness. So keeping busy definitely helped me. And of course, alhamdulillah, just a few weeks after my dad's passing, I found Islam. I became Muslim, and that also helped me deal and cope with my grief and my sadness and understand why I was going through it. And it really became the light at the end of the tunnel for me, me diving into the religion and just finding hope and a sense of peace within it while going through such a turbulent time in my life. Dealing with loss and grief is a very different experience for each person. And it's never easy. Everyone is going to deal with grief and loss in their own way. And there is no right or wrong way. Everyone just deals how they can at that moment in time. It's not very logical. It's very much instinctive. You follow your gut and you just do the best that you can. It's very hard to explain, but everyone grieves differently. But I want to share with you a few tips and kind of give you some advice, maybe share what worked for me, and maybe it might work for you as well. So let's dive right into that. Talking about your feelings might help. It definitely helped for me. Me talking to my close circle, to my support group, talking to my mom who was going through the same thing I was going, talking to my husband, who has been a huge rock to lean on. He really helped me through that time. He always listened to me. He always kind of let me talk things out. He always supported me when I needed it. His family really stepped up and really helped me through that tough time. So sharing your feelings, talking to people in your life, not bottling it all up and just holding on to all of your sadness and those really damaging emotions, because when you feel this sad and you have no outlet and you don't share it with anybody in your life, you just pretty much a ticking time bomb. You're just gonna implode and burn out, and it's just gonna be so much worse if you don't talk to somebody and share what you're feeling and what you're going through. And what really helped me, trying not to talk too much about how sad I was. On the contrary, I just wanted to talk about the happy times and the memories and how things were. Just really looking at the positive side, and looking at the memories that we shared with my grandma and with my dad and my granddad, just like looking at the happy times rather than focusing on the sadness that I was feeling. Which, of course, is the next tip that I actually had, is remembering the happy times. It's so easy to get consumed by the sadness. It's so easy just to fall into a depression because you're just so confused and you don't 100% realize what happened to you. It's almost like an out-of-body experience because it's very hard to believe that it happened, and it happens to so many of us. And when you go through it, you are in denial for quite a while. There are like stages of grief, so denial is real. So rather than focusing and trying to make sense of it, I found it was easier for me to reminisce and think of the happy times and think of the times that we spent together. Of course, there were a lot of tears, a lot of happy tears when I was thinking back on those times, and of course just realizing that I wouldn't have that anymore and wouldn't create new memories with the person that I lost. That was, of course, heartbreaking. But really focusing on the times that we spent together really helped me get through that hardship and heal. And even now, not a day goes by that I don't think about my people. I always think about my grandma, I always think about my dad, I always think about my granddad. Like, they pop in, like, pretty much almost every single day. They're always in the back of my mind. They're always in my heart. But these days, it's easier for me to remember all the times that we shared, all the childhood memories and how they were there for me. My entire my life before, for my entire life before I lost them, of course. It just always brings a big smile on my face, and I'm really happy that I have that, and I really hold on to it. So rather than focusing on the sadness that it never goes away, it's always there. Like, you build your life around your sadness. Of course, you will always be. Grief comes in waves, and sometimes, like, out of nowhere, I'll just start thinking about losing my dad and how it all unfolded, and looking back on that difficult year of my life. I have a cry, and it's always there. Your grief is always there with you, but you've built your life around it, and you've built new experiences. And I have children now, and I have a family, and there is a lot of beautiful things in my life, alhamdulillah. But yeah, I always think of my people and the people that I lost. So yeah, it always helps to think about the happy times rather than the sad times, and it just helps you kind of keep your spirits up. My next tip would be developing a very good self-care routine. You want to stick to things that make you feel happy, even when you are just consumed with sadness. You want to do whatever you can to uplift your spirit. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to eat well, you need to sleep well, you need to hydrate, you need to exercise. You need to avoid things that make you feel worse. If you are going through that hard time in your life and you're dealing with loss and grief, you'll know the things that upset you. You quickly find out what upsets you. You need to avoid those things, and you need to do whatever you can to uplift your spirit and keep your body nourished and your mind at peace, whether it's, meditating, praying. Do whatever you can to nourish your mind and body and soul, so that going through grief becomes, I don't want to say easy, it's not easy, but it becomes the whole experience is a little bit kinder on you, on your mental health, when you take care of yourself, because it's so easy to fall off the wagon and completely fall into the depression, but it doesn't make things easier. But you taking care of yourself can just give you enough boost just to keep your head above water when you are dealing with such a traumatic event in your life. And the next tip is, I've already kind of talked a little bit about that, is keeping busy. That's what helped me. It might not help everybody. Some people might prefer to completely slow down and do nothing and be still and process emotions like that. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. For me, keeping busy was something that helped me keep my sanity and stay optimistic as I possibly could be at that period in time. I really dove into my uni work. I was just at it, and I was really motivated to do a lot of things in my life. So I would rather, at that time, I would have rather been doing anything else but just like sitting still and realizing what just happened and the people that I lost and I would never get back. It was not good for my mental health. So keeping distracted and keeping busy really helped me work through that difficult time in my life, because I think if I paused for a moment and if I stopped, I would have just probably broken down. So moving and keeping busy really, really saved me. And of course, for me, I personally found comfort in Islam. So if you're a religious person, you might also find comfort in your faith, in your religion. It helped me. It pulled me through to the other side. I am so grateful that I found Islam at that time in my life, because it just really helped me get through it. Islam really offered me a sense of community, comfort, hope. That's exactly what I needed to get better and feel more optimistic about life. So yes, praying and having that very strong spiritual connection definitely helped me. I'm gonna go ahead and just say it saved me. So yeah, alhamdulillah for that. And of course, this is the next tip is also very relevant to a lot of people. I personally didn't do it. Even though I was offered on multiple occasions, which I really appreciate that people in my life reached out to me and offered, to put me in touch with the right people to get professional counseling done. Alhamdulillah, I had a really good support group around me. I had, my husband's family, my husband, I had my mom. We all kind of just came together and it was enough for me. But it might not be enough for some people. Some people might need to talk to a professional psychologist or psychiatrist, or even join a support group to connect with like-minded people who went through the same loss, similar loss, people who've been in the same boat, and people who, can share their experience and you can just relate to each other in that way and uplift each other. So if that's you and you feel like you need some extra help, there is no shame in asking for it. Get professional help. If you feel like you're depressed, if you feel like, it's... we all human and we all need help sometimes. There is no shame in asking for help. So make sure you get professional help if you really need it. Yes, and that's all I have for you. This was not an easy video to film, so please be kind in the comments. It definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. I'm a very private person when it comes to my real life. I'd like to think that. I don't share absolutely everything, but I felt like this topic needs to be talked about because it's such a natural thing. Like we all live our lives, death is inevitable. Death is something that we'll all face one day or another. So I think, and like losing your people is hard. Losing your people is heartbreaking, and losing your people can break you. So if you're going through a hard time, I'm so sorry. It gets better. You live your life. the grief will always be with you, but it gets better. You heal and you find meaning in other things in life, and you move on. Grief moves on with you, but you move on and you continue to live your life the best way that you can. So yes, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to, leave me a like, comment below if you have, any other tips for people who are going through loss and grief. We can just support each other in the comment section below. Share this video if you know that it might help somebody. That's the purpose of it. So yes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel right here. And if you want to learn more from me, check out these videos over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.